Hey there, guys, and welcome back to another edition of the Blaze TV podcast. Ted Kimberley, as always. I got Stu Coles back on the show, and our guest on this edition is new Blaze forward ahead of the 2023-2024 season, Alessio Luciani. Alessio, a big welcome to the show, a big welcome to Coventry, and man, we're really looking forward to having you here. Thanks for putting some time aside to hop on the pod.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm excited for next season. I've heard only good things about Coventry, and I mean, it's winding down here. Summer's coming to an end, going by quick, but I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like the season's just around the corner, which is nice. I'm pretty excited to get going. I've got a little bit fed up already of no hockey. Danny's testimonial was a nice little break. We got to get back in the rink and stuff, but yeah, really looking forward to getting some competitive games under the belt. I got to ask you straight off the bat though, because I found this really interesting when we did a little bit of homework on you, because you're Ontario boy, Toronto boy. You play a little bit of double A as you'd expect there, but then a little bit of a curveball. You ended up playing in Whitecourt in Alberta. How did that come about for you?
Yeah, so coming out of double A hockey, I think it was like my senior year of high school, and I either had to decide on whether to go play hockey or go to school. And hockey was something I always had a passion for and I loved. And it was time to play junior hockey, and I went out and played near London, Ontario, and I had some success over there. And I was able to move out to Whitecourt because my advisor had a connection out there, and
Cool.
he put a phone call out, and I moved out to Alberta. And yeah, no, I loved it over there. It was a great experience. Unfortunately, I didn't stick for too long. That's hockey; it happens. Then I came back to Ontario, played a bit over there, and it led me to Adrian.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna hit that timeline pretty hard on this as you'll figure. But just a quick retrace. When you're in Whitecourt, did you play Spruce Grove? Because Nolan Kent, your new teammate, was the goalie on that team, and I think both your teams are pretty good that year.
Yeah, actually we did. I remember. I think we played Spruce Grove like 2 or 3 times within that spurt that I was
Yeah.
in Whitecourt, and I think he has my number. I think Spruce Grove beat us twice there. I think they ended up going really far like that year. I think they went to the finals actually. But no, I don't really know him personally or anything, but I'm sure we have a little topic of conversation that we could kind of get along with there.
Hockey's a small world, as you know. Everybody knows everybody, and if they don't, they know somebody who does. But yeah, like you kind of said there, you spent a little bit of the season out in Alberta. There, you moved back close to home in Markham. What prompted that change? Was it a trade? I think I read something. Was it trade? Did I get that right or did I get that wrong?
It was a trade. Yeah, I didn't think I was in the right spot for like my development, and I ended up getting traded to another team in Alberta. But I just wanted to go somewhere. I just wanted to go back home, like kind of be closer to family, and just go somewhere I felt like a little more comfortable. And that's where how I ended up in Markham. And I mean, it worked out really well for me. And so I also had a couple of buddies that played on Markham too, and they were telling me how good of an organization it was, and how good the coach was and everything. And so that's kind of how I ended up in Markham.
Yeah, always helps when you go to a destination when there's people there you already know. It makes it a lot smoother. And yeah, you played pretty much like half a season there, and then you had the full year in 2018, 2019, and I mean, it just looked like it was a real success for you. Like you said, I think you're an all-star. You led the league in points. You were voted the league's most improved player. What was the secret to that success? Was it just a case of, all right, I'm in the right spot, I'm surrounded by the right people, this is a good fit, I can just show what I can do?
Yeah, I mean, everyone says like anything in sports and life and everything, it's all about like mentality and just confidence, really. And kind of like going to Alberta and then coming home and just kind of being all over the place that year. Like I just kind of hit the reset button in the summer and just kind of reamped my workouts and how I train, and I kind of started working more on myself. And it kind of just, I went into my last year of junior hockey saying I'm just going to give it one last shot and see what happens. And it ended up working out for me and brought me to Adrian, and now kind of it's been my mentality almost my whole life from that point on.
Sure. Stu, do you want to fire away here?
Yeah, we'll pick up you said there about you go to Adrian, and then that's obviously NCAA in the States. It's not the most common to find Canadian players going down the NCAA route, but it seems to be growing in popularity. How did that come about for you?
I'd say I was a little bit of a late bloomer hockey player. When I was growing up, I was always the smallest within my class, smallest on the team. So I never really got the looks that maybe other people got. So I always kind of knew that if I wanted to continue playing hockey, it would have to be going to play NCAA. And that's also something my mom's like, if you're going to play hockey, you got to make sure you get your schooling done too. So that was probably another reason how I ended up in NCAA. I think it was that year, my final year in junior hockey. Adam Krug, the coach of Adrian College, he came out and watched one of my games, and I kind of went back and forth with conversations with him. And I mean, I was talking to other schools at the time as well. And just every conversation I had with Adam was great. And he was never forcing me to like quickly make a decision. It was kind of, here, take your time with this, take your time with everything, like talk it over with your family. And at the end of the day, there was just something about Adam, like the hockey program at Adrian, that was like, and even the school itself, the campus and all that, I was like, this is going to be a good place for me. And it turned out to be. And honestly, Adrian wasn't even one of my first choices when I was deciding on schools. It was probably, I think it was second or third. There were 3 schools that were high on my list. And I mean, just after talking with Adam and the rest of the staff at the time, it was an easy decision. And now I can sit here and say I don't regret anything, because it was honestly the best 4 years of my life, and I wouldn't trade the last 4 for anything. And now I'm gonna start a new journey here. So
yeah, no, those 4 years you had quite the time at college. A bit of a bumpy start. COVID kind of came in and knocked everyone sideways, but after that, settled in, and 21-22 championship winning team, and then some success again. It must have been a good run.
Oh yeah, it was great. I think even my first year at Adrian, when I was a freshman, we had a really good team. We had some bumps in the road at the beginning of the year, but when playoffs came and near the end of the season, when games started meaning a lot more, we flipped the switch, and we were really hot going into playoffs. I think the culture in the room was great. We knew we were going to win. I think we were confident that we were going to win it all. And then the unpredictable happened, and it kind of shut our season down. And I feel it hurts me just knowing that some of our seniors had to kind of end on that. And then when COVID finally went away for good and we finally had a normal season, I think a lot of the guys that were on that team that first year, 2 years later, were like, okay, we're going to do it. And we're going to do it not just for us, we're going to do it for those guys that lost that opportunity. And then now the culture here is, it's all about winning. And that's a culture that I want to hopefully bring over to Coventry.
Well, definitely all about winning. You got the title, and then almost back to back. But for an overtime goal in the final last year. I mean, it's a huge achievement just to get to finals back to back, right? Because that's pretty rare in itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, they say always winning the first one's tough, but the second one's even tougher, because once you have that first, now everyone's gunning for you, and everyone's playing us a lot harder. We're getting every team's best game, no matter what day it was, what night. It was a special run that we had this past year, and unfortunately we didn't get the bounce we wanted. I mean, it happens. It's overtime and it's hockey. It goes off a skate and right to the guy's stick. Wasn't even paying attention, and he just puts it in the empty net. But it was a special team this year. And I think I was talking to one of my old teammates from the year that we won it, and he asked me, he's like, which year was special, like when we won it or like this past year? And I was telling him, like, obviously not the first time winning it is special, but just being able to do what we did with the adversity we went through with injuries and and getting just that close, and it was truly something special.
Ed mentioned as well just a moment ago how hockey is a small world, and Adrian College plays in its division, one of its division rivals, St Norbert. Former player from last season, Peyton Franti. Do you remember much about playing against Peyton at all in a couple of games?
Yeah, I know very well going up against Franny a lot of nights. He was a really good player in Norbert. We had him circled on our lineup sheet as a guy we needed to watch. And so I've gone to, we were both centermen too, so I went up against him in face-offs a bunch. And awesome guy on the ice, competes hard. Just it's what you want on your hockey team. He's an awesome guy. I don't really know him on a personal level, but kind of playing against him, he's a good hockey player. And so.
But it doesn't stop there, right? Assistant coach on Adrian last year was one Matt Thompson, former Blaze player as well. So the links just seem to keep coming and coming. Yeah,
that's the hockey world. It's a big world, but it's a small world. There's a lot of hockey players across the world, but it seems to like there at least you know someone no matter where you go. And Matthew Thompson, he's great. He's a big reason to why I'm in Coventry. He was a great role model and coach for me this past year. He's helped me with a lot, and he still helps me to this day. I mean, I consider him a really good friend of mine now. We go golfing at least twice a week because he's still where I am here, and so no, he's been awesome, and I think I'm gonna be skating with him a little soon here. So.
Well, that's excellent. I don't think we really got to see the best of Matt while he was over here in Coventry, and injuries kind of curtailed him, but everybody knew how much of a good guy he was and contributed in and around the room. So I think it's great that he still thinks highly of Coventry as well and is acting as a pseudo agent along the way and making those connections, which is great. Obviously, when you speak to hockey players, and so we've done a fair few of these now. Hockey players tend to, like yourself, you focus on the team achievements, the championships, or nearly coming close, and what you're able to achieve as a group of guys. But if you look at your own sort of CV personally, you over 4 years, you pretty much consistently over a point a game in D3. That must be a good personal achievement for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the personal accolades are always nice to have, but I've always kind of related those to team success. So if the team's doing well, like individually, the player will also do well. So I've had such good teammates the last 4 years that have helped me all get to where I am, and I mean that's kind of where that comes from, I would say.
Edward.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's talk about your game a little bit then. I know you want to talk about the team, but we're going to get to see a lot of Alessio Luciani next year. And we got pretty excited looking at the highlight reel because you got some speed there, Luch. Is that kind of part of your game always just come natural?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, being a smaller hockey player, obviously I'm not going to run a guy through the boards, right? So I needed to find different ways to kind of adapt and kind of make my own name out there. And I would say shiftiness, quickness, elusiveness, speed were probably some of the words that I kind of had to go around and build my game around. So you'll see a quick player that likes to create plays and looks to push the pace of offense through his speed and all that, and being quick and elusive and all that kind of stuff.
It comes in handy having a bit of speed if you're a centerman as well, because you're kind of expected to be the first guy across the blue line one way and the first guy back the other. So I guess that two-way part of your game actually is something we saw a lot from Matt in the short time he played. He was a really good two-way center. So I guess that's had to become part of your game as well, being responsible in your own end.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to have a good two-way game. My dad harped on it for me my entire life. If you're gonna score goals, you got to make sure you can defend them too. And it's kind of I've been able to like improve on that, like having Matt Thompson as my coach and him being more of I'd say more of a defensive specialist when down the middle when he was in his playing career. He's helped me a lot develop my game and grow that side of my game on the circle and behind the puck and away from the puck and all sorts of and in that kind of way. So he's been a big help this past year. So yeah.
Sure. I think like just from reading up on you and again, watching tape through, junior through to college, it seems like one of the things that you've worked on is that mental side of the game as well. I've read some stuff about, scouts, other teams maybe overlooking you because of your size. And it seemed pretty clear that you were a guy that was out there with a point to prove. And then, you develop that into that maturity, into that competitiveness, that all-round team guy. And that's prepared you quite well for the pro game, hasn't it, in many ways?
Yeah, it's I'd say it's something that's kind of been my whole life. Like I don't even have to do something anymore, and I just know I have to prove someone wrong or prove people wrong, and just continue to compete and work hard. I come from a family that's all about work ethic, and that's kind of how I live my life. I don't want to take a back seat on anything. I'm gonna put full throttle on the gas and give it all I've got.
For sure, there's a good attitude to have. One of the D-men next year, Alexander Kukali, he talks a lot about that professionalism, a lot about that mental side of the game, playing the game the right way. I think you two are going to get on like a house on fire. It kind of reminds me talking to him a little bit here. But I just got to ask you as well, because obviously you've done so well in D3. You're in top 5, top 10 point scorers. You've had a lot of team success. I think, there'd have been a few doors open to maybe play in the coast, maybe try and crack even an American League lineup. Why straight to Europe? And of course, apart from the Matt Thompson connection, why straight to Coventry?
Well, Matt was a good help, and he just having conversations with him, they just thought like I might play a little bit better in Coventry and be able to find my game and just be myself out in the UK or in Europe in general. And I also had some help of an AHL GM who was also helping me out with the Europe options. I think he was in the article, Mark Bernard. I think Coach Stewie talked about him. I know he's had a history with coaching a team in the UK. I don't know the team he coached, but I don't know. It was a tough decision. I had options to go to the coast. I just think going to Europe was going to be a better fit for me. And sure. I mean, once Coventry called, it was a no-brainer. I had to kind of go on that before trying to look anywhere else.
Yeah, the Matt Thompson connection is a pretty obvious one. I think you've messed up on your research somewhere if you don't pick that up. But yeah, I was scratching my head trying to figure out how you knew Bernie. So how did you know Mark Bernard? Because his reputation in the UK is still crazy. I don't think he's been here in 15 years, maybe even close on 20. So how do you know Bernie?
So his son was actually a freshman this past year at our school.
Oh, sure.
So he was our goalie. So Mark Bernard was kind of at the rink a lot, and I kind of saw him when he was around in town. And I think I ran into him. Oh, wow! When we went to the national finals tournament weekend, Mark was in the lobby, and I kind of just sat with him and talked to him for a little bit, and then once our season ended, he actually gave me a phone call, and because I didn't know what I wanted to do, I didn't know where I wanted to go, and I had people like trying to make decisions for me and all, and he was kind of like a voice of reason, so he gave me a call and kind of helped me out through the whole process of kind of going to pro, because it is a lot. It's a lot different than college, so he helped me there, and then. I'd say within the week before I was signing with Coventry, he called me 3 or 4 times that week and kind of helped me out with everything as well. So no, he was another one that was an awesome, great help, and he's another great human.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've heard some great stories about Bernie over I don't think I've ever met him. I don't even ever spoke to him, but he's one of those names that keeps coming up as being one of the good guys in the game. So that's pretty awesome. And the other thing that he would probably been able to do, and maybe Thompson did a little bit as well, is prepare you for life in the elite league, because it's a little bit different. It's a little bit kooky in many ways, because we have the Challenge Cup competition. The playoffs are pretty much single game, and I guess he probably drew comparisons to some of the tournament hockey that you get in NCAA, because I think Adrian got a couple of invites, and was it your first year you won the Buffalo State tournament as well?
Yeah.
So I guess he prepared, those guys can prepare you for that, because it can be a shock to some guys.
Yeah, I'd say Tomer Thompson. Sorry, you call him Tomer, but Thompson. He helped me out with that, and he was kind of because I didn't really know about Europe hockey. I don't know like how it works or whatever, but he was kind of explaining to me like how it is, and then you have all those different games that go on. Like you got your league, then you got like on the side you have the Challenge Cup, and then he also kind of prepared me with like life in England, and it's a lot different than like life over here. And he said the roads are smaller. I mean, I got to get used to driving on the the right hand side, because we drive on the left. But
wait, no, we drive on the left. You drive on the right. Oh, in the cab. Yeah. Sure, I understand. Yeah.
So there's a few things I had to get used to, but he's kind of helped me out, and then I guess the rest of it I'm gonna have to figure it out when I get over there.
It's part of the excitement, though, for sure. Stu, do you want to chip in before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'd just be excited to make sure that you get your left and your right the right way around when you step in a car. Make sure you're on the correct side of the road. Don't say on the right side of the road, because you end up in the wrong place. There's a good few stories about players and driving, and some players who refused to drive while they were over here because it scared them too much. But the Coventry Ring Road is a special beast that you will learn to love.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I can't wait to get down there and prove myself and just play hockey and have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it's all about. Alessio, I really appreciate you putting some time aside to do this. It's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. It was my pleasure. And if there's anything you need more from me, let me know, and happy to help with anything.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much once again for joining us on the Blaze TV podcast. From me, Ed, Kimberley, from Alessio Luciani, from Stu Coles, everybody in the crew. We'll catch you a little bit later down the road with plenty more of these episodes to come. Take care.